Hey everyone, welcome to the Nootropic Reviewer live question and answer, where I'm here to answer your questions. And many of you asked, what did I take prior to starting this live stream? And what I took was I took some L-theanine. Really helps to maintain calmness, gets me out of my head a little bit, makes me enjoy this more so. It's kind of like how you feel post meditation. And I also use Bacopa and Rhodiola rosea. However, I probably wouldn't have used that if it was earlier in the day, but more so these are like two adaptogens which really work well for me when it comes to like eliminating stress, fighting fatigue, helping me to be in state in the later portion of the day, just like kind of like how I feel in the early portion of the day. So let me know what your questions are. What's new with me? I recently made a video on nootropic stacks to take or nootropics that go well with lion's mane. And the few which came to mind were, if you're looking for productivity, it would be lion's mane and piracetam. If you're looking for energy, it would be lion's mane and caffeine. And if you're looking for something which will help you with stress, then it was a stack of lion's mane, Bacopa Mineri, and Ashwagandha. Let me know for you, what's been, from your experience, what's been the best one or two nootropics to use alongside with lion's mane? I think one of the most popular, you could say, stacks is taking lion's mane along with coffee or lion's mane with caffeine, as that will help you to be somewhat productive. It'll get you the energy boost, and at the same time you have lion's mane kind of easing things out and not making you like anxious or kind of out of your head. What's going on? Guys, I see Amna's here. Who else is here? And let's jump in with your questions. Like I mentioned, got that video that'll be rolling out soon on a few lion's mane stacks. And otherwise, I made a video on my top 5 nootropics going into 2022. I think many of you will like that. I posted another video, but in that video, it was like the top 5 nootropics from the viewers, just from reading comments. What do people seem to seem to be liking? But what you have to understand is, like, I've been using nootropics, or the majority of my nootropics I'm taking now, I've been taking since like 2014, maybe 2015. So I've yet to really find anything new within the past few years. So I would say, if you guys have heard about like newer nootropics, like the majority of the stuff like on Nootropics Depot or some of the websites that has been new in 2021 or 2020, I would say like 90% of the stuff really isn't that great. It's the stuff which has been tried, tested, true, that has studies behind it. Like Bacopa, for example, it's so good at relieving stress. At the same time, it's good for memory, and they've definitely proven that. My friend said Piracetam is bad for my kidney. Is it true? Probably not. I've not seen any research that supports that. With Piracetam, I mean, there's not enough research even supporting that it's going to be healthy for you. So you can make the same argument regarding a lot of nootropics, that they're bad for the kidneys. I'd be curious to just ask your friend more so what makes you lead to that conclusion. How are you liking Tongkat Ali nowadays? So I've been alternating between using the powdered form and the capsule form. I used to kind of believe that the powdered form was oh, sorry, I didn't click the comment. There you go. How are you liking Tongkat Ali nowadays? Yeah, I'm going back between the powder form and between the capsule form. I'm using the capsule form now. I used to think that the powder form seemed to have give me a better reaction and I would notice it more. No, guys, the powder tastes absolutely awful. So go with the capsules. I don't think that the powder is going to be any more effective. I've also not noticed any like major difference between the two forms of Tongkat Ali that you'll find on Nootropics Depot. They have a different percentage of urocominone, but I'm really liking it. I just don't like that I can't use Tongkat Ali during the like early portion of the day, because of course I practice intermittent fasting, and you don't want to take Tongkat Ali under a fasted state. You'll feel nauseous. You're gonna want to like vomit sometimes, especially if you have like low blood pressure or you're somebody who's somewhat underweight. Then you really have to be mindful, like getting the calories in, and then use Tongkat Ali alongside it. What should I take with Bacopa for forgetfulness and memory? iPhone Rashid, if you're somebody with a bit of anxiety, generally speaking, and you think maybe you're just getting brain fog, you're not in a good mood, which could be naturally leading to you not having a great memory, then you may want to consider taking ashwagandha. My favorite form of ashwagandha is the KSM66. Not only will it help to reduce cortisol levels, but the KSM66 form, it doesn't have the negative side effects, which is demotivation in most cases. So you may want to consider taking it alongside with that. If you consider yourself to be already in like a pretty good mood and you just want something to aid you with your memory, learning retention, and helping you with forgetfulness, then look into taking Piracetam along with Choline. A nice way of going about that would be taking like 800 milligrams of Piracetam along with 150 milligrams of alpha GPC. That would be twice per day. And after about 7 to 10 days, you may notice yourself being a little bit more sharper and having like those fewer incidents of being forgetful or having forgetfulness. The day before exams, what new... yo guys, slow down a bit in the chat. No, it's okay guys. I'm gonna hopefully answer everybody's questions, so no worries. So the day before exams, what nootropics can I take? I don't really understand that. Like, why the day before the exam? If you're saying like cramming for an exam, then watch the video that I've made on cramming for exams. I have 2 videos when it comes to exams. I have what are the best nootropics to take for studying and learning, and then I have what are the best nootropics to take for cramming for an exam. However, with that cramming stack, that is not a stack that's meant to necessarily be used the day before an exam, more like 2 weeks before the exam. I would not take any major risks and take something you've not taken like 1 day prior to the exam, because that's a risk. And like, what if you don't feel right and you feel awful and then you can't study? Is taking ashwagandha and bacopa together has any side effects? Yes, bingo. Well, the major side effect you may not consider is the demotivation. These are 2, I would say, out of ashwagandha, bacopa, and lion's mane, these are 3 nootropics that people often report feeling kind of tired, somewhat demotivated, hurts their work ethic a little bit, and ashwagandha and bacopa being more so. So what I really like about ashwagandha and bacopa, they are so strong for improving your mood. I have gone through periods of taking these 2 nootropics out of my stack and putting them back in, and you can 100% tell that like your baseline mood is just higher. You're less attached to your work. You feel calmer during the course of the day. You're not as like stressed out and irritable. Alongside that, you seem to worry a lot less. And when you're worrying less, you're more creative by nature. You feel able to make deeper connections with people. So I really like these 2 nootropics specifically for mood. But that would be if you're somebody who's just wired in the sense like you already have a good work ethic. Like people have always been saying to me, Michael, you're the type to work from mornings to night. You just love your work, and I do. And so for that reason, ashwagandha and bacopa, they go well for me because I've already found nootropics that can kind of offset that demotivation, like Piracetam or Noopep, for example. So Rashid, know yourself, just be mindful. Of course, if you introduce these two nootropics, it can hurt your work ethic a little bit, but I don't think it'll really compromise you with focus or anything. And you may want to just try them individually first to make sure that you have a good reaction, and then you can move forward accordingly. Do you know of any other places Piracetam, Nootropics has been out for a while? I don't. You may want to just send me a message on Instagram. There's another place I believe I know. Did fenugreek have any benefits, help with libido? For me, absolutely none. I have tried fenugreek from at least 3 different vendors over the past like 10 or so years. I got into fitness about, I would say like in my late teen, you can say mid-teens, late teens. I was kind of overweight, so I needed to lose weight, and I was looking for anything to give me some sort of edge with my workouts, with boosting my libido. So I did try fenugreek back then, late teens, then early 20s again. I didn't notice any benefits. Some people do, but very, very rarely do I see even like comments on my channel saying fenugreek is great, look into it, or make a video on it. People seem to not care, but what's good about it is it goes great with cooking. I often use it in my cooking, and I like it. What is the most safe dosage for Piracetam for maintenance use? What's more so safe is not only like the dosage, but to make sure you understand how much choline you need while you're taking the Racetam. So with choline, especially alpha GPC, you need to kind of find your sweet spot. You need to, because if you take too much, you may experience forgetfulness, you may experience brain fog, but if you take too little, then you may similarly experience that, or even like slight symptoms of depression or anxiety. For most people, it seems to be 800 milligrams of Piracetam twice a day, along with 150 milligrams of alpha GPC with each serving. If you have longer work days and you can take Piracetam 3 times a day, that's what I did. Some users of Piracetam have even reported experiencing good results when they use like an attack dose, meaning they're using more Piracetam, something like 4 to 5 grams per day for the first week, and then after it's kind of saturated in your system, then go to something a little bit more moderate, like 800 milligrams twice a day. So take that along with, take your Piracetam along with alpha GPC. If you don't respond well to alpha GPC, then you can use CDP choline, also known as acetylcholine. And what you should notice from taking Piracetam, a little bit more energy during the course of the day, a little bit more focus on like your high priority tasks. I mean, there's only a few tasks which are like that important in the day that when you finish the day, you feel like, okay, if I got those few tasks done, only those few tasks, it was a productive day. Piracetam kind of helps you to keep them top of mind. One like kind of nice side effect is it will allow you to like neglect things outside of work. You'll not have much interest in like Netflix or your favorite TV show, for example. So really good for work ethic while still keeping you balanced. And what I really like about Piracetam is it's such a versatile supplement. It's good for social situations. It's good for independent work, good for data entry. You're just like sharper on all levels. Yeah, it really did suck when Piracetam was out of stock for so long, but we don't seem to have that issue anymore. Austin Walker asks, recommended anything for withdrawals from getting off antidepressants, Lexapro specifically? Yeah, Austin, I would say, because I've been there too on SSRIs. I couldn't really find one that worked well for me, so I've never been on anything for more than a few months. But from my experience, lion's mane was something I really liked. When I was using lion's mane, that seemed like the major advantage, not necessarily like the cognitive flexibility or becoming more curious necessarily, but the fact that when you take lion's mane, almost instantly you feel like milder, you can say, symptoms of depression. You forget that you're kind of in a bad spot if you're in a bad spot. It may not help you with energy, sort of like how SSRIs do, but it will naturally just make you more present and allow you to focus more on like the next moment versus, you know, the whole year and whatever like problems you're in right now. L-arginine or agmatine sulfate. Because this is a nootropic channel, I would say agmatine sulfate, but if you're more aspiring to get to have a great physique and build muscle, then L-arginine is really good. Also will help to boost nitric oxide levels, which will help you with your muscle pumps. Top 3 natural herb nootropics. Let's say caffeine, of course. I would say it's natural. Don't quote me on this in the future. I mean, keep in mind that the nootropics that I say now are going to be based on the ones which I've been talking about so far. So that'll be rhodiola rosea and Bacopa Minieri. But on that point, I'm surprised more people don't talk about rhodiola rosea. I absolutely love this stuff. Top 5 nootropics. It's always been that way. I first found it like back 2014, and I've not like gone a few months even without taking it. I love this stuff. Rhodiola rosea, I've talked about it. If you haven't given it a shot, give it a damn shot. It helps to fight fatigue, and it will help make the second half of your day just as productive as the first half. I'm taking Piracetam and Alpha GPC. It's been 2 weeks now. I don't even know if it's working, which is pretty normal. I didn't notice Piracetam working the first couple months that I used it, but it was until, and this is the key point with a lot of nootropics, you sort of do notice them once you remove them from your stack. So I was younger, in my college days. In Canada, we call it university. Not sure about where you are, but I was in university and I was using Piracetam, was questioning whether or not the stuff was working, and then I stopped using it. And suddenly my memory, I could definitely tell it wasn't as good as it was before. And it struck me then that Piracetam surely helps with learning retention, memory, and even like your ability to focus for long stretches of time. Like to focus on something for 2 to 3 hours, it's difficult. Don't think you're the only one if you have issues with that. Piracetam and Brahmi together. Yes, Darmanch, and guys, so you know Brahmi is Bacopa. I think that's what they call it there in India. Piracetam and Brahmi together, really great nootropic specifically for boosting memory. Bacopa can improve grades in university. If can, what is the alternatives? Mohammed, I'm not going to answer because I don't know what the question is. All right, I'm consuming iPhone Rashid. Third question from iPhone Rashid. Nothing wrong with that, guys. Be sure to answer, drop some questions. I'm consuming around 8 to 10 egg whites every day. Will that provide me enough choline? Can I skip alpha GPC and take Piracetam only, and ashwagandha make me not go to work? Smiley faced. First question, the answer is no. You want to get like 2 to 3 egg yolks minimum. You can look that up on Google. I can't recall it, but just look choline content in different foods. It's not only egg yolks. There are a few nuts, few types of nuts that you can snack on that to get your choline intake. But I would still recommend you get your alpha GPC. It should be pretty easy to get a hold of. Can I skip alpha GPC and take piracetam only? Probably not. I've looked into this and I've done the research, and there wasn't a lot of research, so I looked on a ton of anecdotes, and I can safely conclude like 80% of people do not do well with just taking piracetam by itself. They either don't notice the benefits, or they get headaches, or they feel irritable, which happens with not only piracetam but the other rastams as well. Being irritable, being frustrated, kind of not tolerating things is pretty normal. And ashwagandha makes me not go to work. That's right. Go to Kola, Ginkgo, Biloba. I don't like either of them. Thumbs down. Go to Kola, I actually get a bad response from. Maybe that's me. I don't get a good reaction from. I don't know why people use it. Some people seem to say it helps with building muscle. Some people say that it helps to de-stress. I think it's overrated. And Ginkgo biloba, similarly, it's kind of overrated. I think most people use Ginkgo biloba just because they know of it. It seems relatively safe, given that it's one of the nootropics that was like first discovered and senior people use it. I know a few people who, I see on the comments, people seem to like it, but there's very few studies showing that it can be effective for younger individuals. Whereas you take Bacopa, for example, and you have, clear studies that people, even intelligent people, who were in their 20s, for example, did see an improvement with their memory. And guys, are you enjoying this? I really hope you're enjoying this live stream. If you are, I know we got 44 people here. Don't mind giving this thing a like. And let me know where you're from. I hope you all are enjoying this, because I really enjoy these live streams that I feel so connected to the viewers. I would have never thought that this channel would have grown as it's grown. So it's great. Michael, I know you take powdered shilajit, but it's said to be very ineffective. Would you actually? No, I actually take shilajit from a dropper. So there's a brand, I got it from Cultivate Elevate, and it's the shilajit dropper. That's said to be the most effective form. I definitely noticed it more. I did not like the shilajit from Nootropics Depot. All of you guys who think I'm like Nootropics Depot #1 fan, I'm openly saying I didn't like their shilajit at all. Thoughts on thoughts? Okay, I gotta remove that one. I want to try Quality of Mind, but the price is too much. How can I get it for a decent price? And also Ginkgo biloba in liquid form safe. Liquid form of Ginkgo, I'm not sure about. Quality of Mind, there is actually one that is more budget friendly. It's called Quality of Mind Essentials. There's only a few nootropics that are not there. I think Mucuna Prurens may be one of them, and they've reduced the dosage on a few of the ingredients, but that seems like a pretty solid product. Or Sith Beats, the other alternative if you're on a budget, is watch more of my videos. I have a playlist on nootropics for beginners, and if you watch some of the videos there, you'll get a better idea as far as what are the few nootropics in the Quality of Mind stack that are responsible for them being effective and you being in peak performance. Best Phenibut alternative. That's a really good question. I think the ashwagandha form Choline is one that comes to mind, but it depends what you use Phenibut, is it Phenibut or Phenibut? So it depends what you're using it for. If you're using Phenibut to help you with sleep, then the form of ashwagandha called Choline is a great alternative. Something like 130 milligrams of taking Choline has research behind it. Really helping with all measures of sleep. The number of times you wake up in the middle of the night, that seems to be improved. How fast you fall asleep, how rejuvenated you feel after waking up. That's one to consider, Choline. But if you're using Phenibut specifically to feel kind of like how you feel when you're under the influence of alcohol, I've yet to find anything like it. I'm actually enjoying using Phenibut on days when I take a lot of stimulants. There's 1 or 2 days a week when I'll typically use something like Phenylpiracetam, or I'll use something like modafinil. But the problem is they seem to really keep you up. Phenylpiracetam for me, I'm not sure about you guys. I'd be curious to know your feedback. Phenylpiracetam really keeps me up, even if I take 100 milligrams under the tongue. So what I like about Phenibut is it really does help me to fall asleep and gets me a nice restorative sleep. Do you have any thoughts on turmeric? It's meant to be good for brain health. I would say this falls under the same category as, what was the other nootropic somebody mentioned earlier? Fenugreek. Didn't notice much from it. Of course, great health benefits and great to add in food. Just got in some Phenylpiracetam, but I haven't noticed much difference in drive or energy. Chris, you may want to consider taking it under the tongue. So if you did get the capsulated form, then open up the capsule, put a little bit under your tongue, and then let it sit there for about 30 seconds just to, and then down it with some water. Give me like 3 Mississippis, guys. Josh William, good to see you up in here. I remember you used to always post fire on your comments. Which nootropics can take empty stomach? That's the great thing about nootropics. The majority of them you can actually take on an empty stomach. There are a few exceptions, like L-theanine, be a little bit careful with. Tongkat Ali, be a bit careful with. But the majority of the nootropics, like the racetams, most of them I would say yes. Aniracetam, although it's fat soluble, you can still take it fasted. And what else do we have? Rhodiola rosea, which we talked about, Bacopa mineri, caffeine and L-tyrosine. Those two are real good too. Lion's Mane with Bacopa, what can do for brain and best thing to generate brain cells and neurogenesis. I made a video on this too. It seems like there's videos and everything. And it was 4 nootropics that will help to stimulate brain growth. So Lion's Mane was, I think, was mentioned. A couple other ones you may want to look into are number 1 called Cemax, SEMAX, and then Noopept. Both of them do have research showing that they help with BDNF, which is like fertilizer for the brain, growing new brain cells. You skipped my question on NZT. I don't know what the question was, popcorn time, but yeah, I do remember seeing. You just said, what about NZT? What can I take to improve my verbal recall? I tend to hit a roadblock in conversations when I'm trying to express an idea or concept. I already take alpha GPC, but it seems like it's not enough. We've not talked about Aniracetam yet on this stream. So Aniracetam, similar to Piracetam, may help you with work ethic. It may help you with energy levels, but more, I would say what's more impressive about Aniracetam is that it will really help you with word recall and social anxiety if you experience any. Lion's Mane seems to help people with social anxiety, but not necessarily with verbal, like word recall, being in conversation. So give those two a shot, Piracetam and Aniracetam, and then if you like those as well, then you may want to consider Oxiracetam. And those are some of the synthetic nootropics, the racetams, whereas we've talked a lot in this live stream about the herbal ones, like the adaptogens, like Bacopa mineri, Rhodiola rosea. Those don't really seem to help. They more so will help with energy levels and stress management. I will use Piracetam dosage. 400 milligrams. This will... Okay. Riv, I'm not sure what the question is. No, it won't. Have I tried amoxicillin? If so, what are thoughts? No, I've not tried it, but you're welcome to tell me more about it. Best cost-efficient combo of nootropics. Quality of mine is just too expensive monthly. It really depends on what you're trying to do. If it's something like stress-related, then you may want to consider taking something like Ashwagandha, Bacopa mineri, and Lion's Mane. If it's productivity, then I would say Piracetam is really good, Rhodiola rosea is really good, Lion's Mane is really good, caffeine and L-theanine is really good. That's something in quality of mind. I think they have 90 milligrams of caffeine along with some L-theanine. Not sure how much they have. And also consider adding L-tyrosine. We've not talked about that. Talked about L-tyrosine so far on this live stream. It's an amino acid that you can really take for focus. Consider it a nice alternative to caffeine. And speaking of caffeine alternatives, what do you all consider like the best caffeine alternative that is actually somewhat stimulating? Like Phenylpiracetam seems to last the whole day. I made a video on teacrine. Not so popular, but people seem to want that. Wanted me to put out a review on that. And the other one is Dynamine. Stay tuned for that. I actually did cover Dynamine, like all the research behind it, what it's gonna do, how it's different. So that's one caffeine alternative. Let me know in the comment box if any of you have had experience with Dynamine or teacrine or any other caffeine alternative. I'm curious. Choline increase effect of Bacopa or is independent? Choline will increase. I wouldn't say increase the effect of Bacopa, but it will make your brain kind of work on all cylinders. It's like, consider choline be like just energy for the brain. As you're going about your day, you need to replenish your choline stores. So that's one of the nootropics like I think all people can benefit from, and in most cases doesn't have negative side effects. Also, I noticed a huge difference in taking Rhodiola rosea with higher salidrosides and lower rosavins. What's the ratio of rosavins is higher? I find it makes me very sluggish and tired. But yeah, that's very interesting, Xavier. There's two forms of Rhodiola rosea, like on Nootropics Depot, for example, which get the most attention. I think one's orange, one's green. I've not found a big difference in the two. Some people do, though. Have you noticed the difference? Yeah, that answers the question. I can't remember what kind it is, but mine is the green bottle there on Nootropics Depot. I really like it. But I've not noticed really a big difference with the different forms of Rhodiola rosea. I've been using Nootropics Depot the past few years, but prior to that, I was using different forms of rhodiola rosea, and quite honestly, they've all been the same. Top 3 choline sources for piracetam other than GPC. I would only touch CDP choline, also known as ceticholine. Choline bitartrate I used for the longest time. It did absolutely nothing. I hate choline bitartrate. I even just hate the thought of it being around because people think they're getting enough choline. It's such a choline bitartrate. It's such a bad and ineffective supplement that nootropic companies were actually giving it for free before. When you ordered a supplement like Powder City, Smart Powder, some of the major sites before, when you ordered a nootropic, they would throw in like a huge tub of choline bitartrate. Even they didn't want it. Georgia, what's up, Georgia? What about mushroom supplements like Genius Mushrooms? Does it help for focus? I think they really help when you're fasted, actually. I like the Fresh Cap. Fresh Cap, for example, they have different like mushroom blends. They have one called Thrive 6. I really enjoyed that specific product. So I like the mushroom nootropics. They seem to calm you down a little bit. I don't think there's any... the major benefit, the major like downside I see with a lot of like the mushroom nootropics, as far as why you may need other nootropics, is they may not help you so much with energy levels. Some people report that cordyceps kind of help them with energy, but that hasn't been my experience. I think more so like health benefits, antioxidant benefits, anti-aging, and all that. What nootropic stacks help with ADD/sleepiness? A few of them which come to mind, L-tyrosine is really good. Some people like taking Subroxy. Phenylpiracetam is pretty good. Piracetam is also pretty good. Ginkgo, good or not as great for retention of new information? Not as good. Thumbs down. Bacopa Mineri is much better. Can't stay awake through a whole movie. Which nootropics help with? Don't watch the movie. Turn it off. There's no need for you to force yourself to watch a movie. You're not enjoying it. You're not, it's not productive. What's the point? Spend your time on things you can learn from or things that you enjoy doing. It's a funny question though. You can consider taking some caffeine if you choose to. I take L-tyrosine with Bacopa after breakfast, and I take L-theanine with caffeine in the evening. Is it correct, or will they side effect? No, I think that's fine. I'm not really sure why you use your L-theanine with your caffeine in the evening. I would actually switch that about, because I use L-tyrosine, for example, in the evening, because what's great about L-tyrosine is it's going to give you similar benefits that you'd feel with caffeine without feeling like stimulated to the point that it would cause insomnia. So in a practical sense, let's say it's 5 o'clock p.m. I want to get a good 2-hour block of focus work. I could use caffeine for the energy boost, but I know it's going to keep me up, keeping in mind that I'm pretty sensitive to caffeine. That's a perfect example of when I would use something like 750 milligrams of L-tyrosine and really enjoy it. We got 68 people here. I'm so excited. You guys are the greatest, and I'm seeing a lot of new people here. Can you recommend a nootropic supplement with a similar effect of Concerta? I have made a video on this. It's called Alternatives to Adderall. Subroxy, again, being one of them. Caffeine and L-theanine being one of them. Noopep, you may have to take a lot of it, so some people notice the benefit. But over everything, unfortunately, I think the answer is going to be something like modafinil or probably phenylpiracetam, because with Concerta, and I was on Concerta for a good year, and then I used it again for 6 months. I know Concerta damn well, and I will admit it made me very productive. Not only as a student, but I used it in sales when I was selling homes. I probably had like a couple months of like record-breaking sales. My office was shocked, and it was Concerta. But the problem was, at the end of the day, I felt miserable. I had a bad crash, and in my heart of hearts, I knew I couldn't be on Concerta forever, because it just makes you like so wired. So there's no real alternative out there, because with Concerta, you only need to take it once. I think I was taking 27 milligrams, one of those capsules per day in the morning. But the majority of the nootropics that we talk about, they're not going to last the whole day. You're going to need to be taking them twice a day. The only exceptions, like I mentioned, modafinil, you're only going to need that once a day if you do choose to take it. I don't recommend you do. And phenylpiracetam, a common dose of phenylpiracetam is 150 to 200 milligrams. I do good with just taking like 80 milligrams to 100 milligrams. If I take any more than that, then I'm overly stimulated, and they seem to give you like the physical energy. And sorry guys, I know I'm talking really fast. I hope you're all getting this, or you can watch the replay and like maybe slow down the speed. My mom sometimes watches these live streams in my videos, and she's like, "You talk too fast. How can I even learn anything? I can't write stuff down." Best mood stabilizer: Ashwagandha, Bacopa, lion's mane. Those three come to mind. Reishi, chaga mushroom, Hisho Wu. Not sure what Hisho Wu is. Reishi and chaga, I have not noticed any benefit from, but these are two supplements that are specifically good for boosting your immune system and actually avoiding sickness, which is something which is going to be a good reason to take supplements now. But as far as like nootropic benefits, I mean, there's at least 10 or 15 things out there which are better. Can nicotine be taken with nootropics? Yeah, I think it could. I would use it in a similar way in which I mentioned I'd use L-tyrosine. So currently I'm only like spraying this stuff once a day, typically at the end of the day for that work that I really don't want to do. Like one of my practices in the beginning of the day is I always journal for 5 to 10 minutes, and then in the evening I journal again. And sometimes I just like that nicotine will get my energy up and my alertness up, and I'll spray some nicotine and like journal for 5 to 10 minutes and like ask myself some powerful questions that will help me move forward. Like, what were some of the greatest things that happened today? What are some of the ways in which I could have made the day better? So I like that nicotine just kind of helps me, you could say, like zone out of everything else and zone in on whatever work I'm doing. And I do feel that some like a kind of nice benefit to nicotine that I've yet to find from other nootropics is, and I could be so wrong on this, I'm just talking about how I feel, it seems to like mimic the effects of exercise. Like when you exercise, you totally feel different afterwards. It's whether it's dopamine, who knows what it's doing as far as like your neurochemistry, but you feel in this state where you're very courageous, you're willing to do things, you almost like forget what happened prior to whatever happened during like that incident in the day. And I feel that way with nicotine. It's like a nice reset. So it's super cool. How are you? Oh, I'm currently not. I was prior. So this would have been like 2013, 2012. And that's sort of what led me to discover nootropics and want to try a lot of things. I'm very thankful because getting out of university, I could have got a job at the bank like most of my friends did, but my parents are very successful real estate agents. So I choose to get in the real estate industry, and you can make 6 figures like really easy, honestly. So because my income was good, I was able to go ahead and test and try a lot of nootropics, and I think I tried everything I wanted to try back in 2014. So that's what happened. I was like, no SSRIs. I'd rather just like make good money, do the natural thing or close to natural thing, and get some nootropic supplements. I don't know anything about astaxanthin. Sorry about that. Opinion on Nootropic Depot Cistanche. That's a good question. I'm meaning to make a video on that, but I cannot conclude, honestly, whether or not Cistanche does anything. What's been your experience with Cistanche? I mean, because a lot of us are so like shocked with how effective Tongkat Ali is, we're a little bit disappointed from Cistanche. What I have found is I would say like it's kind of effective. It's better than D-aspartic acid, but probably not as good as something like turkesterone. I've been using turkesterone for a few weeks now. I kind of like it, but none of them even compared to Tongkat Ali. So it would be Tongkat Ali over everything. Just one thing great about Cistanche is you only need to take it once a day, and you're able to take it in a fasted state. So I like that about it. And whereas Tongkat Ali, I can't use that pre-workout because I'm most likely going to fast during the course of the day, but Cistanche you can. Only thing is though, it does taste really bad, so be mindful of that. If they don't have the capsules and you're not good with powders, then you may want to just forget it till next time. Nuriva gummies, is it helping? Oh, you know what? I think they've sent me some of that. I've not tried it yet. I apologize. Hey Mike, if I don't respond well to CDP choline, is it possible that I may respond better to alpha GPC? Thanks. That is a super question, and there is a pretty good chance you may. With alpha GPC, not only does it have mental benefits, but it has physical benefits as well, so you'll find it in pre-workouts. But it's been said that CDP choline actually has better mental benefits, and alpha GPC has better physical benefits. So with Quality of Mind, for example, what they've done is they put both in the nootropic blend, and that probably would be the optimal thing to do. So nothing wrong with trying it. It's pretty inexpensive too. Any new nootropics that you've recently discovered, recently and really enjoyed, excluding Tongkat? I've not made a video about lemon balm. I like lemon balm. I like magnolia bark a little bit. They seem to calm me down. They help me to relax a little bit. And besides those, nothing do come to mind. You know, there is probably one or two, but I will think of them and let you know. Cistanche might be one of them. I can see myself getting Cistanche again, as I've not really had any like negative side effects, and I think anything you can take to boost your libido a little bit, provided that you can afford it and doesn't have negative side effects, is okay. And I'm glad you asked about Maca Lee Morrison, because that's another one for testosterone. I don't like it. Maybe it's the forms that I've been getting. I even went through like a 3-month cycle. I took maca from Now Foods, which is like a 3 capsule per day serving. No benefit whatsoever. I've not noticed anything. What's everyone else's experience with maca? Because I don't like it. Word recall. Mohammed, we already touched on this. I'm trying to look for some of the newer questions. Any alternative to ashwagandha for stress and anxiety, minus the demotivation properties? Lines, plus I've noticed short-term memory loss. I always forget switching off the lights and small things like this. Yeah, Rashid, that, some people with ashwagandha, they actually do find it better when they're taking it with food. So you may be one of the few people that actually should be taking it with food. Don't forget that ashwagandha does kind of mess with your thyroid a little bit and also may mess with your blood pressure. So you may want to consider lowering the dose or try the other couple of forms of ashwagandha. The good thing is the other 2 forms are actually going to be more effective for stress and anxiety. So the Shodan is one of them. I can't seem to remember the name of the other one, but it's there on Nootropics Depot. And another good form if you're not looking, another good alternative if you're not looking to actually take ashwagandha could be lion's mane and could be rhodiola rosea. Siberian ginseng or Panax ginseng maybe has been mentioned. If you are going to try ginseng, because I'm not necessarily against it, but I don't like that it can be somewhat stimulating, take the form from Nootropics Depot. I think it's called GS514. I really enjoy that. Biggest nootropics for social anxiety would be Aniracetam first. I think Aniracetam is really powerful at social anxiety, verbal fluency, but I also like Noopept. And like Noopept, it's not like it necessarily may help you with social anxiety, but like you feel so motivated when you're taking Noopept. You're just motivated. You're money's on your mind all the time. Productivity is on your mind all the time. And as a result of wanting to achieve so much, you just seem to like not really care about your social anxieties, and you'll bulldoze through those kind of like mental battles, if that makes sense. I noticed you differ a lot from Cortex Labs' nootropic related opinions. Well, that's good. I don't want to be like everybody else. It seems that the newts you praise highly are nearly the opposite newts that he praises. Why is this exactly? Callum, if you could share an example for that, I'd be curious to know. I haven't checked out his channel for a really long time, but what I remember, he was like going over very specific stacks, which I found pretty interesting. A little bit confusing for like the newer people to nootropics, but kind of like a good angle to it. How to reduce DHT levels ASAP without finasteride without. Look at the other nootropics that you're taking that could actually reduce DHT levels, like lion's mane, for example. Ever tried NoFap to improve your test naturally? It works excellently for me. I have tried it. Didn't really notice anything. That's just my perspective on it. What stack or newt do you recommend for knowledge workers? What does that mean, knowledge worker? If you could just remind me, please. And have you ever tried colostrum? I have not. What dosage of phenylpiracetam would you recommend? I would recommend you start off very, very slow. I mentioned earlier, the common dose is something like 150 milligrams to 200 milligrams. Some people take it twice a day. I don't. I'm very sensitive to stimulants and very sensitive to phenylpiracetam. So depending on the day, if I'm a little bit sleep deprived, for me, that's something like, I would say like 6.5 hours or less. I may use up to like 120 milligrams of phenylpiracetam. But for most days, it's going to be like 80 to 100 milligrams of phenylpiracetam. However, if there is a day when I do like what I want to do, like a really long workout, let's say it's a Saturday or a Sunday and I'm off work and I'm like, why not just go test all my PRs, enjoy myself, lift weights with all my body parts and like go on the stair climber. Just, one of those days, maybe you want to make up for workouts that you didn't have during the week. Then I would go something as high as like 175 milligrams of phenylpiracetam, because like the physical stimulation that you get from it is incredible. And Mohammed, you seem to have a lot of questions. Is it the same people asking all the questions? But I like it because I'm the same type. I was on a Zoom call today with a bunch of really smart people, just learning more about how to build like a real estate brokerage myself, how to not only recruit agents, but how to train the agents, how to make them successful. And I was like the only one asking questions, so I like it. Modafinil, and I skipped over his question, sorry. Modafinil and armodafinil sometimes don't work. What is the solution? That is very true. With both these supplements, they are very like inconsistent. You may not notice them really working, but most people notice them working in the later portion of the day. I would recommend you to get the most out of the phenols. What seems to work well with most people is increasing their choline intake, number one, drinking a whole lot of water. I'm saying like drink more water than you've ever drunk before. I'm saying like even a couple of gallons, because it's like almost like energy when you're drinking it. And you'll notice modafinil more so if you're studying, like learning. Like one thing you'll realize when you're taking modafinil, or one ways to even like check if you're kind of under the influence, is you'll read something and you're able to get through the material so much faster. And as you talk to people, it'll probably be it'll probably like test your patience a little bit. So I would guess that if you don't notice them working, you're probably not surrounding yourself with people enough, because when you talk to people, trust that you know if modafinil is in your system, because you will not be able to tolerate them or really have the patience for them. You want to grab the phone out of your pocket, for example. Nootropics Depot is currently out of Piracetam. I apologize, I don't know, but I believe there's a way you can like subscribe so that when they do have it in stock, they'll send you out a message. And then the best thing to do is next time it's available, like get as much as you can. And we got the same comment here. Seems like everyone's, hey man, I'm currently studying finance. Do you have any recommendations for me? I think you understand the workload. Yeah, that's actually what I studied doing my undergrad. It was in finance. Piracetam worked really, really well for me. Choline worked well for me. Caffeine actually did not work well for me. I noticed that when I took caffeine, sure, it may give me the energy boost. It may give me like a good like block of focus, but I didn't like that. I seem to like lose my analytical skills to some extent. So you're better off just taking naps, avoiding the caffeine. And I did like taking armodafinil as well, and just whatever you can take to just get through the repetitive work. Not only Piracetam, you may want to look into Piracetam as well. Thoughts on bromantane? I've actually yet to try it, but I'm open to be convinced about if it's good to take or not. Matcha is good or not for the brain? I think it's kind of overrated. I think a lot of the distributors or people who are talking about matcha are usually trying to sell it to you. I don't believe it's too effective, but it is good for energy and it is good for focus. Sorry about that. I just touched the mic. I live near Toronto. Where near Toronto? I'm in Toronto. You can connect with me on Instagram. Don't expect an answer to this specific question, but either way, let's be friends and give each other a high five. Anything that contains low or no oxalates, not sure what that means. Have you tried NMN to boost your ATP levels? I've tried NMN. I was pretty disappointing. I think you can conclude with NMN. It's probably going to be better for elder individuals, I think like 50 plus. Especially for somebody who's like diabetic or has very low energy levels. Do you like any other vendors? Yes, I like Smart Powders. I don't know if they're still there. I like same day supplements, especially for workout products. I like bodybuilding.com. And then some of the times I'm just going directly on Amazon, like Now Foods, and would get stuff from the brands that way. When is the last time you've taken Concerta? Have you fully quit it? I went in early 2015. I used it for about 4 months. And that's when it struck me I'm never going to use this stuff again, because I first used Concerta back 2013 or 14 for focus, for productivity. And then I used it again in early 2015 because I was balancing through a few things. I was finishing my undergrad, so I had a school. I had to do exams for my real estate license, because the way you get licensed over here is you get your license, or this is how it was before. You get your license, and then 2 years later you have to do more exams to like maintain or like retain your license. So I got my real estate license in 2013. In 2015, I had to do these damn exams again, on top of selling homes and on top of doing my last semester at university. So I used Concerta there. I wasn't getting much sleep, but it helped me like have a really, really solid 4 or 5 months. When I was taking Concerta, I made a whole lot of money. I ended up buying a Porsche, like stupid me buying a Porsche before I bought a house, but made really good money, was able to get through my studies. But the problem was when I stopped taking Concerta, suddenly you're in like a really bad state for at least a couple of weeks. I'm talking very low energy levels. You want to nap. You don't want to work out. Caffeine seems to not work, and you just want to socially isolate, if that makes sense. And Sani, my virtual assistant, is saying my voice has changed. Keep it a bit closer. Hope that's better. I'm gonna remove that comment. Yeah, guys, please no questions about where am I gonna get all this stuff, because you guys know I can't answer that. Thoughts on recent possible banning of NAC? That's interesting. I don't know anything about the banning of NAC. I'd be curious to know more about it, but it can be pretty strong with people, and people are sometimes taking it for the wrong reasons, thinking that it can like replace a prescription. In most cases it's not going to. Shout outs from Toronto. Love the videos. Man, this is great. I didn't know there should be some Toronto viewers. One thing I love about Toronto is people are so ambitious. There is so much money to be made. It's like, come to Toronto if you want to make money, and then once you've made your money, you can leave, because there's not much else to do besides like make money. It's busy. People can be kind of rude and abrupt, but I appreciate like how sharp everyone is. And although it's expensive, like our average price home just hit over 1.1. Melatonin, look at that picture. RKO. Melatonin for neurogenesis. Melatonin has research supporting its increase with BDNF and NGF, I believe, but I don't think it's a good idea to take melatonin specifically for neurogenesis. If anything, the way you may want to consider using melatonin is if you are maybe needing to wake up earlier than you typically do. Like if you're used to waking up at 9, but suddenly you need to wake up at 7, then that's a good opportunity for you to take melatonin. I would also recommend you try something like Shodan or valerian root to help you get to sleep, and melatonin will make your sleep a little bit deeper, but do your research when it comes to melatonin. Be open to trying different brands and different dosages. I've yet to find like a really good form of melatonin that I had found like 5 or 6 years ago. I think the best form I found was on bodybuilding.com. I don't like the Nootropics depot forms. I've tried the extended release melatonin. If you guys know of a better form, then let me know. I'd be curious. Is Mucuna Prurens very dangerous, or why is everybody shying away from talking about it? That's a great question. It's because it increases dopamine levels, and you're going to be better off increasing your dopamine levels through natural means, like eating more protein or like exercising. So it's just a neat way to get more dopamine in your system, because that's what happens. You increase, you consume Mucuna Prurens, and as a result, you increase your dopamine levels, which is going to make you focus, which is going to make you understand that if you do particular activities, it will result in you making more money or get rewards. You're just kind of like zoned into that. So it's been said to not be a good idea to artificially kind of increase your dopamine levels, because if you're going to do that, then you should alongside that take something to boost serotonin like 5-HTP. Similar thing can be said about L-tyrosine, but the nice thing about L-tyrosine, though it does increase your dopamine levels, you actually notice the benefits. With Mucuna Prurens, I've not noticed much from it. It's been said to have like a longer half-life and should make you more focused throughout the whole course of the day. I've not noticed anything really from it, so that's like one of the nootropics that are just sitting on my shelf. Do you like yerba mate tea? Yeah, I'm not against it. It's one of those things like teas. I don't always have time to go like boil my kettle, or I'll go like boil my kettle and take a break, and then I'll just forget that the water is sitting over there. Sobotiamine is a good caffeine substitute. I've been using it for years. I've tried sobotiamine several times, and I've not noticed any results from it, which is probably the reason why I haven't done a video on it. If I haven't done a video on it, it's safe to assume that I probably tried it and I didn't notice the benefits. I can think of very few nootropics that I haven't tried, but that goes for sobotiamine itself. Like, I like to talk to you guys about nootropics that I actually enjoy and do a product review on. But with sobotiamine, like, if I didn't notice the benefits of it, what am I going to make a video saying? I can't make an 8 to 10 minute video saying I tried this new nootropic, it didn't do anything. I'll let other people make videos about the benefits, but I like talking about my personal experience, and that's why people seem to like this channel. I'm not necessarily going over the research, or I'll go over some of the research, but more so like how to use nootropics in a practical sense. Is finasteride the anti-nootropic? Absolutely. I don't think anybody should be taking finasteride. For those of you who don't know it, it's a nootropic which is going to help you with hair loss specifically. It's not a nootropic, it's a prescription, but alongside with helping you with hair loss and helping you to keep your hair, it's known to decrease testosterone levels. People often report that it makes them like less competitive and sort of less alpha. So I would definitely think twice if you're considering getting on finasteride for sure. And let's go. Next question. Where are we? Do you still take Tongkat Ali? Yes, I talked about this earlier in the live stream. Is there any nootropics that increase liver enzymes? Yeah, you may want to consider just getting a good probiotic, because there are several of them. But typically, or usually, regardless of the vendor, you can find like a good probiotic blend. One I really like is called Brain Biotic. That one's really good. Can I take Piracetam with Bacopa and L-tyrosine for good memory, which will help in studies? You can, although L-tyrosine is not going to be as effective at helping you with your memory as Piracetam and Bacopa. Piracetam and Bacopa are really good for improving your memory, really good for learning retention, but L-tyrosine more so better for like energy levels, better for focus. When you consume L-tyrosine, especially fasted, expect to get like 2 hours, maybe or maybe like 90 minutes of like good focused work. And guys, I'm gonna finish this in like 5 minutes. Hopefully I can wrap up all the comments. Oh shoot, I definitely can't. We've got 60 minutes worth of comments. Okay, I'm sorry guys if I skip through yours. The best nootropic that you can make, okay, we already talked about that one. Caffeine alternative, some people like Dynamine. You may want to consider that. Thoughts on more plates? What were your thoughts on the more plates, more dates exchange when you reviewed his nootropic formula? I mean, I thought he brought some valid points, but I did ask some questions. They were sensible questions. There were questions like I'm genuinely curious, and he skipped over some of those. So I guess his explanation was solid in that he did defend some of his points, but he didn't defend some of the other questions I had. Like for I think it was lion's mane or a couple other nootropics. Like why were they no longer in the formula and not in the newer formula? Because theocrine is expensive in my country. Caffeine. Okay, that's just responding to that. Magnesium is good for sleep quality. Yes, absolutely. But you may want to consider trying several forms of magnesium to find the best one. I really like magnesium L-threonate, for example. That's one of the more newer nootropics that has become popular. But the problem is it's very expensive. You have a degree? Yes, I do have a degree, but I don't have it on my wall. Anyone tried? Yeah, ephedra, great for weight loss, but it will kind of hurt. It will stop you from getting below like 9 to 10% body fat. Most people don't realize that with ephedra, it will help you if you're like 15% body fat, 20% body fat, but it will actually hurt your ability to lose stubborn body fat. You can learn more about that if you read a book like The Stubborn Body Fat Solution by Lyle McDonald. Astragalus root, good for avoiding sickness, like which is pretty relevant now. What do you think about L-glutamine? Did you try it? I've tried it. I was one of the people who believe maybe it can boost growth hormone levels. It's been said about L-glutamine that, or this was what was said about like 10 years ago. Like in the bodybuilding community, you can say there was this big thing about use L-glutamine, I think 2 grams of it before sleeping because it will help to boost growth hormone levels. I'm not sure if anybody said that study, if anybody has concluded that that study was nonsense, but I gave it a shot. I didn't notice anything from it. If you're going to take an amino acid like L-glutamine, you may as well just buy BCAAs, get like a 2:1 ratio of isoleucine, valine, and leucine, and consume that rather than your L-glutamine. But no point of doing it unless you're not getting enough of your protein requirements. Have you ever done testosterone checks and checked how nootropics affected it? No, I've done it when I was on TRT for that very short period of time, but not with nootropics itself. It's more just based on my general energy levels, how I feel in the weight room, and my libido and my sleep, which I know isn't the best thing. That hopefully there's an easier way moving forward to see, just to check our testosterone levels. Is taurine any good? When you mix it with caffeine, it can kind of like help to prolong the effects of caffeine. It may help some people with nervousness, but I don't think it's kind of worth supplementing with unless you kind of like have issues with caffeine. Maybe you experience jitters, or maybe it doesn't last as long. Because taurine, it's really inexpensive, but that could be one of the major reasons why a lot of energy products contain it in their formula. Because you'll see it there, 5-Hour Energy, Rockstar. It's pretty common. What is Oxiracetam used for, and what dose to take it, and how does it have withdrawal symptoms? Oxiracetam. What Oxiracetam is used for, more so than Anoracetam, Piracetam, and Piracetam, is that you actually feel somewhat alert when you're taking it. So you feel generally sharper. I really like Oxiracetam, something like 500 to 800 milligrams of it twice per day. You will certainly feel sharper. Instantly when you take it, like your important priorities seem to be very, very top of mind. Just what I don't like about Oxiracetam is, I wouldn't say there's like withdrawal symptoms, but what's so is you do build somewhat of a tolerance. So it would be a good idea to get off of Oxiracetam, something like 6 weeks on, 2 weeks off, and then repeat in a similar fashion. Do you think cybersecurity is a good field to be in? It depends what the income potential is, depends if you enjoy doing it, and if there's room for growth long term. What scooper do you use to dose your powders? Because Nootropics Vipo doesn't provide a scooper, and I can't find a milligram scooper to dose it in. I was very lucky. I think I got Nootropics from a different company. I think it was Lift Mode, actually. By the way, Lift Mode Phenibut is absolutely solid. The last time I ordered from Lift Mode, they gave me a bunch of these like small orange scoops that I really liked. So I mean, you can go out there and find like quarter teaspoon measuring, measuring spoons, for example, but better off just use a scale and it's fine. Most scales will come with like a little kind of like scoop there where you can scoop in the nootropic and put it on the scale. Knowledge workers that spend all day in the office or remote on their computers, writing, working in spreadsheets. Okay, nice. I asked Tommy asked what are good nootropics for knowledge workers, and I said, what's a knowledge worker? So I appreciate the definition here. Let's look at this. Workers that spend all day in the office or remote on their computers, writing, working in spreadsheets and meetings, talking about highly technical or corporate stuff. L-tyrosine and rhodiola rosea, definitely take those twice a day. If you're somebody tired, then you may benefit from taking caffeine and L-theanine. And if it's like a mood-related issue, then I would say lion's mane could be good too. But I found that with knowledge workers or people in this kind of working somewhat in this capacity, they really like taking rhodiola rosea, especially middle of the day, as it helps them with their general concentration. I don't like caffeine. Have you tried oxytocin? No, I thought the only way to take it was through like injecting it or something. I sleep a lot. What nootropics that can help, and what is the best nootropic for productivity? I can mention a few good for productivity that I really like, or most people like. One being caffeine and L-theanine, other being Noopept, and third being Piracetam. If try Phenylpiracetam, yep, that's a solid one as well, but kind of too stimulating and not practical to be taking every single day. What is the best stimulant other than caffeine? Yeah, we talked about this. Let's first look at the options. Theocrine, dynamine. We have things like caffeine and L-theanine. That can be said to be one, and Phenylpiracetam. So it depends. If you just want a few hours of focus, I really like taking caffeine and L-theanine, but I also do like taking caffeine and L-tyrosine because you seem to be wanting to be productive, whereas with L-theanine, you kind of feel a little bit too chill. And guys, I have to finish this live stream. I didn't realize it's been almost an hour, and my virtual assistant is waiting for me to assign them some work. But I appreciate all of you. I will be getting timestamps here shortly, and I really apologize if I did skip over some of the questions, especially at the end. You're welcome to ask me, put it in the comments, message me on Instagram. I'll be sure to get back to you. Appreciate you all. Don't forget to give it a little thumbs up and join us on Discord where we're having a lot of fun. You guys are the best, and we'll talk soon. Cheers.